Hello guys, welcome back. Okay, so I ended up purchasing the tchotchke. There are pictures over on Patreon for you, plus there's a new video over on Patreon, so enjoy. And it was weird because I couldn't get out of my mind that I'd seen this somewhere before, and I thought, well, I can only think of a couple possible places I could have seen it. I could have seen it in that store that was like a trading post, or I could have seen it a couple other places, but where'd I see this? And I contacted her and I said, I'm sorry, I know you'll think it's a strange question, but could you please tell me if you remember where you got it? And I'm not going to tell her any information because I don't want to feed her something. And she says, I think I got it for Publishers Clearinghouse or Warehouse or something like that. I'm like, okay, thank you. I'm like, well, I still could have seen it where I thought I did, or Publishers Clearinghouse used to send out all those mailers, and this is obviously probably from the 90s or something, just the way it's done. And I'm like, yeah, I could have seen this, but it was weird because I know that Mark, there's like this it's supposed to be like, I guess, a tag. It's made to look like pottery. And you know how with pottery in the 80s and 90s that they would sell that they would claim was First Nations, there'd be like a slither cord around it, and then there'd be like a poker chip style tag. And it would be, something on it. And I know I've seen this before. I'm just like, I don't know where I've seen it unless it's like floating around, eBay, and it keeps going on. And it's like this amazing miracle story. And I keep getting lights on my Pinterest, holiday lights specifically, coming out of nowhere, like abundance of lights, and pigeons and doves showed up today in the Pinterest. It was a sunny day, and I'm going out, and I'm looking up, and you're all like, what does this have to do with the gods? And every time I sat down to record, something horrible happened. I would start to sneeze or cough, and I'm like, oh, I know I'm allergic to everything. So I have Vicks on my front, Vicks on my back, Vicks up my nose, because I just started, every time I sit down, I'd be like, and I was like, what's going on? Am I allergic to YouTube now? And it was just this thing of, I had this epiphany last night, and it's over on Patreon for you guys. Because sometimes Patreon, I'm like, well, I'm experiencing this thing. I'm going to tell you guys first because my patrons are great and they don't judge me. And you really need that kind of support because you don't need to be like fretting every single moment, every single day. Oh my God, what if I speak my truth and everybody abandons me? Nobody wants to hear that. And I think it's only common sense that of the 7 billion plus people that are on this planet, we all have distinctly different truths. And long story short, I'd watched this movie last night and I'm like, wow, okay. And I've been watching these miracle videos today and I've been like, oh, okay. And some of the movies I'm seeing advertised, they're movies any of us could get behind, I think. Yeah, they're kind of Christian style movies, but they're about the God that we all like now, the loving God, the kind God, the generous Jesus, not boogity boogity Jesus. King giggles back here. And of course, since this company wants to make as much money as possible, they do have their share of boogity boogity Jesus movies. And one movie, I swear to Goddess, the ACLU is the devil's tool and is out to get us all. Well, if you're Christian, and Christians are under major prosecution and all this. And I'm just rolling my eyes. I'm like, no, man, it's 2019. Maybe it's time you have to admit that you might not like or agree with other religions, but they do exist. You can't just hammer everybody in the head with the Bible and expect them to get with the program. That shit don't work. And the message of the video on Patreon is to not serve in fear. And that's very important. Wherever we're going to take our spiritual journey, we can't do it in fear. You can't serve Loki, for example, with fear. You can't be like, I met this god and he won't go away and I'm terrified he's gonna hurt me. He's not gonna hurt you. He can be scary. He can look like a snappish little fox ready to go off, but he's really not going to hurt you. He's just in a perpetually grumpy mood sometimes. I swear to the gods and goddesses, he's not going to hurt you. He may find something terrible he knows you're terrified of to drop on you, but he's not going to hurt you. I'm here, back here. He knows I have this phobia with bugs, and every so often he's like, "Guess what I'm gonna do to you?" But he's not gonna hurt you. Odin's not going to hurt you. And none of the gods are going to hurt you, and they're actually pretty damn calm as long with whoever you're serving or whoever you're going to explore with, as long as you're doing it with a positive, upbeat attitude. If you're doing it out of fear, if you're doing it out of these gods can't possibly provide for me, or you're doing it worse still out of guilt, like I have to go here, or anything else, that they don't approve of and that they'll protect you of. Odin this whole time has been trying to protect me from getting hurt in the sense of you're afraid of what people are going to think, or you're afraid of this, or you're afraid of that. They don't want you, like, you could serve 80 gods, but serve 80 gods because you love them. Don't serve 80 gods because fear is just closing in on you and you think you need 80 gods because all these gods are powerless, but maybe together 80 gods can do something. Try to work through that fear. And what I do is I will sit down with it and I will just face it. And some days you have to do it every day, and then it goes away for a while, and sometimes it comes back. But we've just been working on working through fear. You can't let people use fear to rule your life, and I should know that better than anyone. And you're going to run into those people all your life, especially when you start getting happy. They can't fucking stand to see you happy or successful. And they will be repeatedly obnoxious to you your whole life sometimes because they're not happy, so why should you be happy? And the thing is, they have to, it's not your job to save them. So don't worry about that. But they have to realize at some point that the only one they're really making miserable is themselves. What their words might hurt you, their actions might hurt you, but in the end, they're only hurting themselves because, oh, 1 second, please. We made chili. Canned chili. I can live very happily out of cans, but anyhow. The only people they're really hurting, even though their actions might hurt or intimidate you, what they're happening is themselves. Because instead of doing their own work, and some people never get this message their entire life, instead of working on their own work and their own path and doing whatever they have to do, they're interfering with everybody else and policing the world. And that's not how you grow. Eventually you're like, you know what? You do you. You're not responsible for these people. And as I'm watching this kind of woo, they're saying common sense stuff like, don't hold on to what they do. You might have terrible, rotten people in your life. Kind of release them to the universe. And like I've said before, avoid contact when you can. There are going to be times you can't avoid contact. Maybe you have terrible neighbors. They're rude and considerate jerks, but you're not allowed to do anything, like in my case. Or you have terrible family members, or you have all this other stuff going on. Just let it go. Release them to the universe. Just whatever you have to call it, just put it in Loki's hands or whatever, but you have to let that go because you can't carry that anger and frustration and everything inside of you because they win if you do. It's not like they don't win if you let go of it. They win if you hold on to it. They really do. So we've just been working on that. We've been letting go of, well, what will people think if I start exploring more on the channel? Who cares what people think? I'm not saying that to be rude or insensitive, but really, who cares what people think? Because, you can't live your life to make other people happy. Life is astonishingly short. Here I am already at 43, and I can't really tell you that I feel like I've lived 43 years worth of life. It doesn't feel like that at all. It's not, in case you've ever wondered, as you get older, you do not look back and go, yep, I have exactly 43 years of it. No, you don't. So, life is astonishingly short, and you can't, this feels timely, you can't live it in fear of what people are going to think. Or such forth or such not. Maybe you're in a situation where, and I'm not psychic, you have to get yourself to a place where it's safe to do this, but, once you get yourself there, then start working on the healing. And don't, I'm getting poked back there, don't turn it the other way, don't go attacking these people, because that doesn't help either, just release them. When I ignore my neighbor, when I ignore his loud rock concerts, when I ignore everything he's doing, he surprisingly calms down, and it's mysterious. I've seen it happen. He starts lowering the music, and sometimes he even shuts it off, and he looks confused as hell because he doesn't know why he's doing this. Because I'm not feeding back to him. I'm not agitated. I'm just like, you know what? I don't care. Do all you want. And when I ignore him, because he's obviously doing this for attention, he gets this really confused look on his face, and it's like it's against his will, but he turns the music off or he stops doing whatever he's doing. And it's like he's just doing it for attention. He wants everybody in the row to notice what he's doing. And unfortunately, I'm the only audience he has because I'm right across the street from him. And when his audience goes away, there's no motivation to keep doing it. And I'm surprised he's not having a rock concert today, but it's kind of like the less and less and less attention I've been giving him, the less he's doing. It's amazing. So, that feels timely. I hope it helps one of you. If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.